Single dad black janitor smashed the CEO's laptop. Then the secret inside shocked the entire boardroom. Don't sign that, please. Everyone in the big glass room turned at once. A black janitor stood at the door, breathing hard, holding a mop like a bat. His gray uniform was wet with sweat. Serafina Caldwell, the young CEO, froze. Her pen stopped right above the glowing screen. One signature and her $2 billion deal would be done. She blinked. "What did you just say?" Ethan Brooks took a shaky step forward. "I said don't sign it. Someone put a trap in your laptop. If you sign, your whole company will disappear." The boardroom filled with laughter. "What is this?" one investor snorted. "Some kind of prank?" Richard Hale, the CFO, smiled without warmth. "Serafina, I'll handle this. Security!" "Wait!" Ethan shouted. "Please, just listen to me. I tracked a signal coming from this floor. It's in that laptop. Someone switched it days ago." Serafina's voice was cool and sharp. "You're a janitor. How would you even know that?" "I used to be more than that," he said quietly. "I was a data engineer before people like him ruined me." He pointed at Richard. Richard's smile faded. "He's lying," he snapped. "Throw him out." The guards started forward. Ethan's heart pounded. They won't listen, he thought, just like before. He closed his eyes for half a second. He saw his little girl, Laya, asleep on an old bucket 3 floors below, waiting for him to finish work. He heard his wife's voice in his memory, soft, dying, saying, "Never stay silent when something's wrong." He opened his eyes. "I'm sorry for this." Before anyone could stop him, Ethan raised the mop handle high. Crash! The sound shook the room. The laptop shattered, screen bursting into pieces. Sparks jumped. Everyone screamed. Serafina jumped to her feet. "Are you insane?" "Look," Ethan said, pointing. A tiny silver chip rolled out from the broken laptop, flashing once before going dark. The room fell silent. Someone whispered, "What is that?" Ethan's voice cracked. "That's what was about to destroy your company. A kill chip. It would have erased everything and sent your data to whoever planted it." Serafina stared at the chip, her face pale. Who would do that?" Ethan looked straight at Richard. "Ask him." Richard stood, face red. "You have no proof." Ethan's voice steadied. "I do. I traced the signal from the basement servers. It ended in your office." Gasps filled the room. Serafina looked at Richard, then back at Ethan. "Who are you, really?" "I'm just a father trying to do the right thing," he said softly. "I already lost everything once because nobody believed me. I won't let it happen again." For a long moment, nobody spoke. The city lights shimmered behind the glass walls. Serafina's voice finally broke the silence. "Everyone out," she said quietly. People hurried away, whispering. Only Serafina, Richard, and Ethan were left. The air felt heavy. Serafina's eyes stayed locked on Ethan's face. "You've got 5 minutes," she said. "Tell me the truth." Emily stared at the tiny silver chip lying on the table. It looked harmless, like a toy part, but something about it made her chest tighten. The thing was small enough to lose, in a pocket. Yet it had almost destroyed everything her father built. Her voice came out low. "Talk." Ethan took a shaky breath. 3 days ago, I noticed a strange signal moving through the building's power lines. It was too clean, too perfect to be random. I followed it floor by floor until I reached this one. Richard crossed his arms. "A signal? This is nonsense." Ethan ignored him. "The closer I got, the stronger it became. When I reached your office, ma'am, it was coming straight from your laptop." Emily frowned. "That's impossible. No one touches that laptop but me." Ethan gave a sad smile. "Someone did. During the last IT inspection, they switched it. Same model, same stickers, same wallpaper, but not the same inside. The real one's probably destroyed by now." Richard snorted. And who do you think did that? Ghosts. Ethan looked straight at him. No, you. The words hit the air like thunder. Richard laughed nervously. Me? I'm your CFO, Emily. You can't possibly— I can, Ethan said, voice firm. Because I tracked the code. The chip was talking to a private server. Guess whose login showed up? Yours. Emily's eyes moved from one man to the other. Ethan, you're sure? He nodded. I saved the trace logs on my Janitor panel. The signal ran through your private network, Richard. You rerouted data straight out of this building. Richard's smile faded. Why would I risk my career? My life? Ethan took a step forward. Because someone offered you more. You're not working alone. Emily's voice sharpened. Who else is involved? Ethan shook his head. Not sure yet, but the chip would have wiped every file the moment you signed. All your research, every patent gone. Then the data would reappear under someone else's name, Titan Core's. Emily froze. Project Phoenix? Ethan nodded slowly. That's the code I saw. I helped build the original prototype when I worked at Meridian Labs. Her brows lifted. You built Phoenix? I built the security system that protected it, he said softly, until it was stolen, and they blamed me for the theft. Richard slammed his hand on the table. This is crazy. You're letting a janitor accuse me of treason? Emily didn't answer. She couldn't take her eyes off Ethan. The sweat on his forehead, the hurt in his voice, the truth that somehow felt heavier than all the money in that room. You said you tracked the signal for 3 days, she said. Why not tell security? Ethan looked down. Would you believe a man with a criminal record? I tried once. No one listened. So I waited. I watched. When I saw you were about to sign tonight, I knew it was now or never. The room fell silent. Emily turned toward the broken laptop, glass still glittering under the lights. Her voice was soft now. You risked your job, maybe your life, to stop me from signing. Ethan nodded. My wife made me promise I'd never stay quiet when something's wrong, even if it costs me everything. She died, believing I'd keep that promise. For the first time that night, Emily's cold mask slipped. The woman who built walls around herself suddenly looked fragile, almost human. I'm sorry, she whispered. Before Ethan could answer, a vibration buzzed on the table. Richard's phone. Ethan's head snapped up. Don't touch that. Richard froze, but his thumb twitched. He hit decline. Emily's voice was sharp. Who was that? Spam, Richard said too quickly. Ethan grabbed the phone, slammed its screen up on the table. For a second, the screen glowed, and a name flashed across it. Incoming call, Victor Melnick. Emily's face drained of color. That's the CEO of Titan Core Industries. Richard stayed silent. Ethan spoke quietly. Looks like we just found your partner. The air turned heavy. The tiny chip, the phone call, the missing laptop, all the pieces locked together like a nightmare. Emily straightened slowly. You were going to sell my company, she said, her voice icy. You were going to destroy everything my father built. Richard's voice broke. Emily, you don't understand. They had me cornered. Titan Core promised they'd protect me. I thought it was just a backup plan. She stepped closer, eyes burning. You picked the wrong janitor to underestimate. Ethan stayed silent, watching her take back control. Give me that phone, she said. Ethan handed it to her. She pressed record. You're going to tell me everything. Names, dates, payments, all of it. Richard trembled. If I talk, they'll kill me. Emily's tone was calm but deadly. If you don't, you'll wish they had. He swallowed hard and nodded. Ethan moved to the laptop remains. The chip still blinked faintly. He picked it up carefully. It's not just storage, he murmured. It's a live transmitter. Someone's listening right now. Emily's eyes widened. You mean, yeah, Ethan said. They already know we found it. Richard's face turned white. Oh, God. Ethan looked at Emily. We need to move fast. If Titan Core is watching, they'll try to delete the servers next. Emily nodded firmly. Then we stop them. Richard whispered, You can't. They own half the network. Ethan looked him straight in the eye. Then we'll take the other half. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Emily grabbed her phone and hit the intercom. Lock all exits. Cut outside access to the server grid. Ma'am? A voice replied. Do it, she said. Ethan slipped the chip into a glass of water. It hissed and went dark. That's one problem gone. Emily turned to him, something almost like trust in her eyes. You stay with me. You're the only person I believe right now. Ethan nodded. Then let's finish this. The three of them walked toward the elevator. One woman who'd lost faith in everyone, one man who'd already lost everything, and one traitor who suddenly feared both. The doors slid shut behind them. Far below, in the heart of the building, the servers started humming louder, a sound like a storm waking up. Emily leaned against the broken table, still staring at Ethan. The city lights behind her painted gold and blue reflections across her face. Her voice was calm, but full of weight. Tell me everything, she said quietly. Ethan nodded, his hands trembling slightly. You already know part of it. 4 years ago, I worked at Meridian Labs. I was their lead security engineer on Project Phoenix, the most advanced data shield in the world. It could stop any hack, any theft, any intrusion. It was built to protect information forever. Emily crossed her arms. And someone broke it. He nodded slowly. Yes. One night the system was breached. Backup servers were wiped, and the original code, my code, was stolen. When I tried to report it, I found my own name on the access logs. Someone had set me up. The next morning, I was fired and banned from the industry. The government froze my accounts. The company made me their scapegoat. Emily's eyes softened slightly. Who blamed you? Everyone, he said bitterly. The board, the press, even my co-workers. They all believed the story, that I was a greedy man who sold secrets for money. But it wasn't true. I found fake access trails, log edits, even fake emails planted under my name. I tried to show them, but nobody listened. He took a long breath, the pain in his voice heavy and real. After that, everything fell apart. My wife, Jenna, got sick. We couldn't afford her treatment anymore. I worked night shifts, begged for side jobs, but it wasn't enough. She died holding my hand, still believing I'd prove my innocence someday. The room fell silent. Emily's eyes lowered. I'm sorry, she whispered, and for the first time she meant it. Ethan blinked back the sting in his eyes. Before she passed, she made me promise one thing, to never stay quiet when something's wrong, no matter how dangerous it is. So when I found that signal in this building, I knew it was the same pattern, the same code signature from 4 years ago. The people who destroyed me. They're here. Emily's head snapped up. You're saying the same hackers, the ones who ruined your life, are working with Titan Core? He nodded. Yes, they never wanted to just steal technology. They wanted control. Project Phoenix was the one system that could stop them, so they made sure I got blamed for it. Richard, who had been silent until now, suddenly blurted out, You have no proof. You're spinning stories because you're bitter. Ethan turned toward him, his tone hard but steady. Proof? I traced the same encrypted pattern that ruined my life. And I found it running through your private server, Richard. Don't tell me it's a coincidence, Richard's voice cracked. You don't understand. They threatened me. Titan Core owns everything. They have spies in every company, every boardroom. They said if I didn't help, they'd destroy me too. My wife, my kids. Emily cut him off, her voice cold. And you thought destroying my company was the solution? Richard's eyes glistened. I didn't have a choice. They already bought half our stock through shell companies. They were going to take over whether I helped or not. I just wanted to survive. Ethan's jaw tightened. No one's ever free when they sell their soul, Richard. You just become another chain in their system." For a moment, no one spoke. The air felt heavy with guilt and truth. Emily rubbed her temples. "So Titan Core wanted Project Phoenix," she said slowly. "If they got it, they'd control every major tech network in the country. The power, the data, the government, everything." She looked at Ethan again. "You just saved more than a company tonight." He gave a tired smile. "I wasn't trying to be a hero. I just wanted to save one little girl's future." "Your daughter," Emily said softly. Ethan nodded. "Laya, she's 8. Smart, funny, stubborn as her mom. She still draws hearts on my work orders." He gave a small laugh that quickly faded. "She thinks her dad is just a janitor. I didn't want her to grow up thinking that's all I ever was. The man who mopped floors because the world stopped believing in him." Something changed in Emily's face. The steel in her eyes softened into something human. "My father used to say the same thing," she murmured. "He built this company so I'd never have to beg for respect. Then his own partners betrayed him. He died believing trust was a weakness. I guess I learned the same lesson." Ethan met her gaze. "That's a lonely way to live." She gave a faint smile. "It worked. Until tonight." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The night outside felt quiet, almost peaceful. Two broken people from different worlds, one who lost everything and one who built everything but trust, finally standing on the same side. Then the silence shattered. Ethan's janitor radio crackled. Static hissed sharply through the air. He frowned. "That's not normal." Emily looked up. "What is it?" He turned the dial slowly. The static grew louder, then a robotic voice cut through. "Backup plan activated. Target asset compromised. Initiate Phase 2. Emily froze. "What does that mean?" Ethan's blood ran cold. "It means they know we found the chip. They're starting the next phase." Right then, the lights flickered. The hum of the building changed. Deeper, mechanical, dangerous. Screens went black. Richard's voice shook. "They're in the system again." Alarms exploded across the floor, red lights flashing. Security gates locked down with a metallic clank. Ethan grabbed Emily's wrist. "We have to move, now." She hesitated for half a second, then nodded. "Where?" "To the sub-level server room," he said. "That's where the signal began. If we get there before they shut us out, we can cut the line." Emily looked around the boardroom. The shattered glass, the red lights, the chaos, then back at him. "Lead the way." Richard stumbled behind them, pale and shaking. "They'll kill us all," he muttered. Ethan pushed open the door, the hallway glowing red from emergency lights. He turned back one last time, his eyes on the broken laptop. "That thing almost destroyed everything," he said quietly. Emily nodded. "Then let's make sure it's the last thing they ever use against us." Ethan took a breath and ran into the hallway. Emily followed right behind him, her heels clicking against the marble as the building began to shake. Somewhere below, deep in the server rooms, a hidden system came alive, and the real war for the truth had just begun. Red lights flashed like warning hearts across the hallway as Ethan, Emily, and Richard ran through the upper floors of the glass tower. The alarm's metallic scream echoed everywhere. Each step they took sounded louder than the last, bouncing off the walls like gunfire. Emily's breath came out sharp. "Ethan, what's happening now?" "They've taken over the main network," Ethan shouted over the noise. "They're locking the whole building down. Titan Core's system is trying to trap us before we reach the servers." Richard stumbled behind them, clutching his chest. "I didn't know they could do that." Ethan turned back, eyes burning. "You gave them access, Richard. You opened the door, and now they're walking right through it." Richard's voice cracked. "They said it was only data, just a backup plan." Ethan glared. "You sold them a weapon," Emily snapped. "Enough. Both of you, keep moving." They turned down a long corridor lined with glass offices. Inside each one, screens blinked red with a single message. "System override. Access denied." The sight sent a chill down Emily's spine. The company her father built from nothing was being torn apart line by line, code by code. When they reached the stairwell, Ethan swiped his old access card. The system beeped red. Denied. He cursed under his breath. They've locked out physical access, too. Emily's tone was calm but tight. Can you override it? Ethan pulled out a small metal device from his tool belt, an old hacking tool he'd built years ago when he still had a badge and a future. If I can connect this, maybe. He bent down, hands steady even as the building trembled. Sparks jumped when he connected 2 wires. The screen flashed green for half a second. Come on, he muttered. Then, click. The door opened. Emily looked at him with something close to admiration. You still remember all this? Ethan gave a small smile. I built half these systems. Guess they forgot to erase me completely. They ran down the stairs, floor after floor, the air getting hotter as they descended. The hum of the servers below grew louder, like the heartbeat of a monster waking up. When they reached the 30th floor, the stairwell doors slammed shut automatically with a heavy clang. A robotic voice echoed through the hall. Security breach detected. Building lockdown engaged. All exits sealed. Emily looked up at the blinking red sensor light. We're trapped. Ethan took a deep breath. No, not yet. He jammed his tool into the control box and typed furiously. The lights flickered, then the door gave a soft click. Emily exhaled. Remind me never to fire you. He smiled briefly. You already did, remember? They kept moving. The air smelled like smoke and hot metal now. Red warning lights flashed along the walls. Every screen showed the same line of text. Phoenix Core. Override in progress. Emily's heart dropped. They're going after Project Phoenix again. Yes, Ethan said. And this time they're not just stealing it. They're trying to burn it completely. If they do, it's gone forever. Richard's voice trembled. You can't stop them. They'll just keep coming. They control everything. Ethan stopped walking and turned to face him. You're wrong. They control systems, not people. The words hung in the air like a spark of hope in the smoke-filled hall. Finally, they reached the heavy steel door marked Server Control, Authorized Personnel Only. It was locked with a digital panel. Emily stepped forward, her voice steady. Can you open it? Ethan nodded. Maybe, but it'll take time. Keep watch. He knelt down, typing commands into the keypad. Sparks flew. A few seconds later, the door hissed and slid open. Inside, rows of glowing servers stretched across the room like endless towers of light. The sound was deafening. The hum of fans and electricity. Ethan's eyes moved across the monitors. They've already infected the lower nodes. If we don't stop it now, they'll erase everything. Emily moved beside him. Tell me what to do. He pointed at the far corner. There's an auxiliary grid panel. If you pull the power from there, I can reroute control manually. She nodded and ran toward the other side of the room. Her heels clattering against the metal floor. Ethan's fingers flew over the keyboard. Come on, come on. Lines of code raced across the screen. His pulse matched the beeping monitors. Almost there. Suddenly, the screens turned black. Then a message appeared. Hello, Ethan. We meet again. His blood ran cold. Emily froze mid-step. What is that? Ethan whispered. It's them. Another message appeared. You should have stayed quiet. The lights dimmed. The servers began to glow red. A low buzzing sound filled the air, rising in pitch until it felt like the walls were vibrating. Richard covered his ears. What's happening? Ethan shouted. They're trying to overload the system. Can you stop it? Emily yelled. He pointed. Kill the power, now. Emily grabbed the handle of the auxiliary grid and pulled. Nothing happened. The lever was jammed. I can't, she shouted. Ethan ran toward her, hands shaking. Try again, harder. She braced herself and yanked with all her strength. Clank. The lever came loose, and the entire room exploded in white light. Boom. Sparks showered everywhere. The hum stopped. For a few seconds, everything went silent except for the crackle of burning wires. Ethan coughed through the smoke. Emily, you okay? Her voice came faintly. I'm fine. What about you? He wiped his face and looked at the screens. Most were dead, except one. A single monitor blinked red with a new message. Phase 2 initiated. Target, Ethan Brooks. Ethan stared at the screen, his face turning pale. "They're coming for me now." Emily stepped closer, voice calm but firm. "Then we'll protect you." He shook his head slowly. "No, they're not after me because of who I am. They're after me because of what I know." The room went quiet again. The sound of distant sirens rose through the smoke. Emily looked at him, eyes full of something new. "Trust. Then we make sure the truth doesn't die with you." Ethan nodded slowly, the light from the broken servers glowing faintly on his face. "This isn't just a fight for data anymore," he said softly. "It's a fight for the truth." And somewhere deep below, a second network came alive, silent, waiting. Proof that the war inside Caldwell Tech was far from over. The air inside the server room was thick with smoke and fear. Red warning lights blinked across the walls like eyes watching from the dark. Ethan stood over the last flickering screen, the message still glowing. Phase 2 initiated. Target, Ethan Brooks. He stared at it, his heart pounding hard against his ribs. The words didn't just look like a threat. They felt personal. They knew his name. They knew his past. Emily stepped closer, her voice low but steady. "They're after you," Ethan nodded slowly. "They've always been after me. They never wanted the truth to come out. Meridian Labs, Titan Core, they all used me as their ghost." Richard leaned against the wall, shaking. "They're not bluffing. Titan Core doesn't send warnings." "They send people." Emily turned sharply. "What do you mean?" He swallowed hard. "They'll send a cleanup team. They'll destroy evidence, shut down every system, and remove anyone who knows too much." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Then we don't have much time." He turned back to the screen, typing fast. His hands flew across the keyboard, the code reflecting in his eyes. "If I can pull the last log from the mainframe, we'll have proof Titan Core was behind the breach. Real proof." Emily stood beside him. "And if you can't, then the world will only remember the lie," he said. The hum of machines filled the silence between them. Emily looked at him, really looked at him. The scars on his hands, the tired lines under his eyes, the kind of pain only truth could leave. "You shouldn't have to do this alone," she said softly. He smiled faintly. "I've been alone for years, ma'am." "I'm used to it." She shook her head. "Not anymore." Richard's voice broke the quiet. "What about me?" "They'll come for me, too." Ethan didn't even glance at him. "You chose your side. Now live with it." Emily looked torn. "He might still help us." "Richard, is there any way to track Titan Core's remote servers?" Richard hesitated. "Maybe. The backup data hub on the roof. But you'll need a secure uplink key to open it." Ethan paused. "Where is it?" "In my office," Richard admitted. "Top drawer, under the safe." Emily nodded. "Then we go there next." Ethan frowned. "We shouldn't split up." "We won't," she said firmly. "You're coming with me. Richard stays here and starts copying the data you just recovered. If he runs, I'll know." Richard nodded weakly. "I won't move." Ethan grabbed a portable drive from the console and slipped it into his pocket. "Let's go." They left the server room, the door hissing shut behind them. The hallway outside was quiet now. Too quiet. The alarms had stopped, and that made it worse. The building felt like it was holding its breath. As they reached the elevator, Emily pressed the button, but it didn't light up. "Power's gone." Ethan pointed to the emergency stairwell. "We'll take the stairs." They climbed in silence. Each floor they passed was darker than the one before. The emergency lights flickered weakly, casting long shadows. When they reached the 48th floor, Richard's office, Emily stopped and listened. She heard faint footsteps down the hall. Ethan's voice dropped. "We're not alone." They moved quietly toward the office. The door was open a crack. Ethan pushed it slowly and froze. The office was trashed. Papers everywhere. The drawers ripped open. The safe smashed. Emily whispered, "They've already been here." Ethan stepped over the mess, scanning the floor. They were looking for something. A small sound came from behind the desk, a faint click. Ethan pulled Emily back just as a bullet shattered the glass door. "Down!" he shouted. They dove to the floor as another shot rang out. A man, dressed in black tactical gear, stepped out from the shadows, gun raised. His voice was cold, metallic through his mask. "Ethan Brooks, you've caused a lot of trouble." Ethan glared at him. "Tell Titan Corps they picked the wrong janitor to mess with." The man smirked. "I'm not here to talk." He raised the gun again, but Emily grabbed the metal nameplate from Richard's desk and threw it. It hit the man's arm, throwing off his aim. The shot went wide. Ethan lunged forward, slamming into the man. The gun fell to the ground. They struggled, fists flying, crashing into the desk. "Ethan!" Emily shouted. He blocked a punch, then slammed his elbow into the attacker's face. The man fell back, dazed. Ethan grabbed the gun and pointed it at him. "Who sent you?" The man laughed through bloodied teeth. "You already know." Ethan's finger trembled on the trigger. "You killed my career, my wife. My life," the man smirked. "You were just a name. A scapegoat. We'll erase you again." Ethan's eyes filled with rage, but before he could shoot, Emily placed her hand on his arm. "Don't," she said softly. "That's what they want. For you to become like them." He hesitated, then lowered the gun. The man smiled. "Too late. The countdown's already started." Ethan's head snapped up. "What countdown?" The man laughed weakly. "Building. Self-destruct. 5 minutes." Emily's eyes widened. "We need to go." Ethan grabbed the uplink key from the safe debris, the only thing intact, and pulled Emily toward the door. "We can stop it from the roof. Come on." As they ran, alarms blared again. Red lights flashed. Behind them, the man in black laughed one last time before disappearing in the smoke. They raced up the final stairwell, the building shaking around them. Ethan's lungs burned, but he didn't stop. Emily kept pace beside him, her voice tight. "If we make it out of this alive, you will," Ethan said. "That's a promise." They burst through the rooftop door, the cold night air hitting their faces. Helicopter lights flashed in the distance. Emily looked at him, breathless. "Can you stop it?" Ethan stared at the uplink key in his hand, then at the glowing control box on the roof. "If I can reach that port, maybe." He ran toward it, the key shining in his grip. The timer on his watch blinked. 4 minutes left. He slid the key into the port. "Come on, work." The system beeped once, then again. The screen flashed. "Override access granted." Emily stepped closer. "You did it." "Almost," he said, typing fast. "Just one more command." A loud bang cut through the night. Ethan turned. A second gunman stood by the door, aiming straight at him. Emily's scream echoed through the rooftop as the shot fired. The sound of the gunshot echoed across the rooftop like thunder. Emily screamed, her heart stopping. "Ethan!" He staggered back, clutching his shoulder. The bullet had torn through his uniform, blood soaking the gray fabric. But he didn't fall. Not yet. The second gunman stepped forward from the shadows, lowering his weapon. "Orders were clear," he said in a cold voice. "No survivors." Emily grabbed the gun Ethan had dropped earlier and pointed it straight at the man. Her hands shook, but her eyes didn't. "Put it down," she shouted. The man laughed. "You won't shoot. People like you never do." Ethan's voice came from behind her, weak but steady. "She doesn't have to." He slammed his hand onto the rooftop control panel. The system roared to life, lights flashing across the roof. Alarms screamed. A timer on the digital screen showed U0059, 2 minutes before detonation. The gunman froze. "What did you do?" Ethan's breathing was rough, each word costing him pain. "I started the override. You blow this place, your boss loses everything. Titan Corps' system goes public. Every secret, every crime, it'll all upload to the world." The man's eyes widened. "You're bluffing." Ethan shook his head slowly. "Try me." For the first time, the man hesitated. His finger twitched near the trigger, but he didn't fire. Emily took a deep breath, stepping closer, voice trembling but fierce. "You have no idea what you're fighting for. You're just a weapon for men who hide behind screens. They ruin lives, steal futures, and call it business. The man's jaw clenched. You think I have a choice? Everyone has a choice, Ethan said quietly. The man's hand shook. For a moment he looked like he might lower the gun, but then a helicopter light flashed over them. He looked up, saw the Titancore logo on the chopper, and cursed. They'll kill me if I fail. Ethan stepped forward, blood dripping down his sleeve. Then stop failing yourself. The man hesitated one last second, then ran toward the edge of the roof and disappeared down the fire escape. Emily rushed to Ethan's side. You're bleeding. He tried to smile. I've had worse. She ripped a piece of her blazer and pressed it against his wound. Stay with me. We have less than 2 minutes left. He winced but kept typing on the panel with his good hand. Almost done. The backup upload needs a few more commands. Can I help? She asked. He nodded weakly. Hold down that switch, the red one. It'll reroute the main server's signal to the satellite link. She pressed the switch as he typed. The helicopter above them circled closer, its lights blinding. The wind whipped through her hair, the sound of blades deafening. Ethan, they're coming, she shouted. Let them, he said, gritting his teeth. We're finishing this. The screen flashed. Uploading. 78%, 84%, 93%. Then the helicopter's loudspeaker boomed. Shut it down, or we open fire. Emily yelled. They'll kill us. Ethan's hand tightened on the keyboard. If we stop now, the truth dies with us. He pressed one last key. 100% uploaded. A loud tone rang out. The screens glowed blue, and hundreds of files started flashing across the monitor. Titancore contracts, payment records, blackmail lists, all of it streaming live to the world. Emily's eyes widened. You did it, Ethan smiled weakly. We did it, the helicopter opened fire. Bullets tore through the rooftop. Emily screamed and ducked as shards of concrete flew everywhere. Ethan grabbed her and pulled her down behind a steel vent. He coughed, blood on his lips. They're not happy. Hold on, she cried. Just then, the sound of sirens filled the city. Police drones and security choppers flooded the sky. The Titancore helicopter tried to escape, but spotlights locked onto it. A police voice boomed through a speaker. This is NYPD. Power down immediately. The Titancore chopper turned, panicking. In seconds, it was surrounded. Emily looked at Ethan, tears in her eyes. It's over, he smiled faintly. Yeah, finally. He leaned back against the metal vent, breathing hard. His skin was pale, his eyes half closed. No, Emily whispered, shaking his shoulder. Ethan, stay with me, please. He blinked slowly. I'm just tired. Haven't stopped running in years. She held his face gently. You're not done yet. You still have a daughter waiting for you. At that, a small smile tugged at his lips. Laya, she'll be so mad I missed breakfast again. Emily's throat tightened. You're not going anywhere. Do you hear me? He nodded weakly, the pain etched in every line of his face. You saved me too, you know, he said softly. I thought my life was over, but you made me remember who I was. Tears filled her eyes. You never stopped being him. He closed his eyes just for a second, then winced. Tell her. Tell Laya her dad kept his promise. Ethan, she cried. Don't you dare close your eyes. He smiled faintly. I'm not going anywhere. Not yet. Sirens roared closer. Paramedics and officers rushed up the stairwell. Emily shouted, Over here! 2 medics ran to Ethan, lifting him onto a stretcher. As they worked, Emily stood beside him, holding his hand. He gripped her fingers weakly. Don't let them hide this, he whispered. Make sure the world knows the truth. I will, she said firmly. You have my word. He nodded, eyes closing as the medics lifted him away. Hours later, the rooftop was quiet again. The dawn sun rose over the city, painting the glass buildings gold. News drones hovered overhead, broadcasting headlines across every screen in Manhattan. Titancore exposed in massive corporate hack. Stolen project Phoenix files recovered by whistleblower Janitor. Emily stood alone by the edge, looking down at the chaos below. Cameras, police, flashing lights. She wasn't the cold CEO anymore. She was someone new, someone human. Behind her, a small voice spoke. "Is my dad okay?" Emily turned. Leah stood there, holding a tiny stuffed bear. Her eyes were wide, scared. Emily knelt down, smiling softly. "He's going to be okay. He's a hero, Leah." Leah's lip trembled. "He always said he was just a janitor." Emily shook her head. "Not anymore. He's the man who saved us all." The little girl smiled through her tears and hugged the CEO's hand. Down below, Ethan Brooks lay in the ambulance, breathing slow but steady, his daughter's name on his lips, and for the first time in years, he wasn't running from the past. He was walking toward a future. Moral: sometimes the world forgets the people who keep it alive. The workers, the quiet ones, the ones no one sees. But when truth is on their side, even a janitor can bring down an empire.